Good afternoon, my name is Mendel. I am the father of genetics. I was born in 1822 in Szech. Well, nowadays it's Szech. At my time it wasn't. I study a lot of math, a lot of science, and I became a priest. I was in charge of the garden, and I make a lot of different experiments to identify how the genes and different genetic things affect how the plants decay. I use fertilization, and I certainly use garden peas. It was the type of plant I used, so it was easy spread, and I was a good person.
Okay, these are a summary of the principles that I did. First of all, we did the inheritance of biological characteristics. It's determined by the individual units called genes, which are passed from parents to offsprings. The other one is where two or more forms, called alleles of the gene, form a single trait exist. Some alleles may be dominant and the other are recessive. In the other one is most sexually reproducing organisms. Each adult has two copies of each gene, one from each parent. These genes segregate from each other when gametes are formed. And the other is the alleles from different genes, usually segregate independently of each other.
In my experiments, I used pea plants, and I crossed the female part with the male part, making hybrids. As an example, we have when I cross tall and short plants, and as a result, it was some short plants and some short plants and some tall plants. And in the next generation, the characteristics were totally different as the first generation.
So, the legacy I leave to the world is that we have two different alleles, the dominant and the recessive, which are shared between the parents, so the offspring gains the characteristic of both, and they combine, so the offspring can show the different alleles, which I define after doing my experiment of the peas, which I will explain you later. Also, some of the benefits I leave with my experiment was that I discovered there are different genotypes which are shared differently depending on the offspring, and what in this case the pea plants have to share to the offspring. My job was wonderful and unique. You might wonder why? Because nowadays, thanks to it, we develop different experiments to know again the different types of alleles we can develop and we can share between our offsprings. And also, thanks to it, we can now predict some syndromes like Tourette syndromes or like Down syndrome, thanks to what I've done.
Thanks to my discoveries, people are able to use a Punnett square, created by a guy named Punnett. A great guy, by the way. It is really simple to use. It uses mathematics and probability to get the different combination of both parent alleles. You will see an image here in the video, and it is really simple. In one edge of the square, you put the one parent alleles, a dominant and a recessive, and in one side, the left side normally, you put the other parent alleles, the alleles in the gamete. And this, in this example, will be also dominant and recessive. As you can see, each square you combine the allele on top and on the side to get a combination. The dominant allele is put on the front, and the recessive allele on the other side. When there are two dominant alleles, you put them both together, and when there are two recessive alleles, you put them also both together. With this, you can get the different combinations. Like here, you will have a 75% of a dominant allele, a dominant characteristic that is shown, and 25% of a recessive characteristic showing. This is a really simple way to show how a Punnett square can be used and how it will be used by the students in classes and on all the world after my death.